Why did God make us Edomites? I hate my life.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord. Praise ye the Lord.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us.
The only deliverance the other nations are going to get is deliverance right into slavery. They're going to be our slaves, thus saith the Lord.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us. Why? God, why?
Jeremiah 30:16 tells you every last one of the other nations, which are non-Israelites, are going into captivity. They're going into slavery underneath the Israelites when the Israelites go back into rulership. When is the Israelites going to go back into rulership? When the Lord comes. That's what he's coming to do. He's coming to set up the Israelites in rulership, beginning with King David. And when I say rulership, meaning the planet Earth, we're going to be ruling the planet Earth in righteousness. After he puts down the wicked. Who's the wicked? The Edomites, which are in power right now. Who are the Edomites? The so-called white man.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us. Why? God, why?
Praise the Lord, for he is greatly to be feared. He removed the wicked and put us righteous in power to victory and the dawn of a new era.
And when I say rulership, meaning the planet Earth, we're going to be ruling the planet Earth in righteousness. After he puts down the wicked. Who's the wicked? The Edomites, which are in power right now. Who are the Edomites? The so-called white man.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord Yahweh. Praise ye the Lord.
Beginning with those top banking families, which happen to be so-called white people. We're talking about the Rothschilds, Rockefellers. We're talking about the DuPonts. We're talking about the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, and families like that. Okay, so when Yahweh Shai comes back, he's going to take away their rulership, which they're enjoying right now. That's the long and short of it, of this ministry.
Thanks, James. I need 200 pounds by sunset.
Yes, sir. I'm on it, Master.
Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
Praise the Lord, for he is greatly to be feared. He removed the wicked and put us righteous in power.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, pushing to get up out of there. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who may have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right. And what I want to get into today, dealing with, the M.O.T.B, a little news on war. All right. And despised among men. Okay. And we're living in this time, where there's a lot happening at the same time, that pertains to prophecy. So we got I got a few playlists of videos I want to get into, but before we get into it, all right, let's just go into the spirit of the scriptures when you go into Matthew 16:1. Okay, the Pharisees also with the Sadducees came and tempted him and tempting, desire him that he would show them a sign from heaven. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, you say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red, and in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky, but can ye not discern the signs, okay, other times? Okay? So here it is, the scribes and Pharisees, they come to Yahushua, looking for a sign, okay? And not knowing that they was talking to the sign, okay? Yahushua himself, okay, was the sign from heaven, from the throne. Okay, Yahushua came down directly from the throne. Okay, and the miracles he was doing, the power that he had. So they're still inquiring of some type of sign, and he's showing them it's happening. Okay, and as you can see today, our people, majority of our people, they can't see the signs of the times that we're in. Okay, and that's why our people are overly concerned, with things that don't matter, because they don't understand the signs leading up to the time of tribulation, the worst time since the earth ever was, and also the time of deliverance. Okay, and you go into this word sign, all right, which is in the Greek is
Strong's G 4592, Semayon. Semayon.
all right. It says a sign, a mark, okay, or a token. Okay, a sign, a mark, or a token. You see, so you see, these things happening as a token. The men of the Lord, all right, all these prophets in the earth that are prophesying these events before they come into place, that's a sign. All right. It says of signs portending remarkable events to soon happen. Okay, and the Lord has raised his men, okay, to be forerunners and to say before, to prophesy, to speak before these things happen. So that's the sign. Okay, and the things happening themselves, that's the sign. Okay, it said that by which a person or thing is distinguished from others and is known. Okay, and it's clear to see that the Lord has raised up a remnant, all right, of his men, of his sons in these last days that are distinguished from everyone else, man. All right, through what their wisdom, their understanding, their insight. Okay, and then on the flip side, the things that is happening real time, when you look at definition 2, it says a sign, a prodigy, portent, i.e., an unusual occurrence transcending the common course of nature, man. And you see what this devil is introducing to the earth, okay, is technology, okay, that's unusual, to try to put a brain interface in people, okay, Neuralink, okay, to try to control people's nervous systems and neurons. You see, biometrics, okay, these are all signs of where we at, man. Okay, because this is what John the Revelator seen on the Isle of Patmos in Revelation 13 and 16. He seen transhumanism technology, man, the RFID chip. Okay, he seen a machine and man merging. Okay, and he described it as a mark, a character. Okay, so all the signs are visible, showing where we at in prophecy, man. Through the prophet's warning and speaking on these things. Okay, from the actual things themselves happening, man, that's the sign. Okay, and while Jake is spending their day trying to prove we're not Israelites and buck up against the truth, and why I left the Hebrew Israelites. If someone has a video and says why I left the Hebrew Israelites, they don't have a clue of what's going on. Okay, they don't have any understanding of what's going on. And Jake want to see, when you go here to verse 4, it says a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign. This is spiritual, whatever, they're actual adulterers and adulteresses, okay, but mainly in the spirit. Okay, there's a people, their mind, their philosophy is based, all right, off other doctrines linked to idols. Okay, and they seek out the, a sign. I don't know what they want, the brothers to fly, fire to come out their eyes, what? Okay, but the sign is right before them. Okay, the men speaking these things, okay, before they happening, and the things happening, that's the sign. Okay, it says, and there shall no sign be given unto it but the sign of the prophet Jonas. You see that? And after he left them and departed, and Jonas, okay, was what? A prophet. Okay, so just as Jonas prophesied, okay, that's the only sign that Jake will get will be the prophets, man. Okay, and if the sign of the prophets, okay, were not enough, all right, proof that the Lord was dealing in the earth, then there was nothing that could be done. Okay, that's why you go to Isaiah 8 real quick, and then we'll segue into these videos of things that is happening, man. You know, linking them to the signs. This is Isaiah 8 and 18 said, behold, I, all right, which is the eyes, Yahushua, and the children, all right, those first fruits, whom the Lord had given me for signs and for wonders, all right, are for signs and for wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth in Zion. So the prophets, Yahushua, beginning with Yahushua, all right, when he was here doing his ministry, he was a sign, okay, given by the Lord to Israel. Now the prophets in this time, all right, are their sign. Okay, you go into this word, okay, signs in the Hebrew, which is atah. Okay, what is it? Ahath. So like ahath. All right, when you or it's ath, you know, ahath or ath. So when you go into it, it says a sign, a signal, a distinguishing mark. Okay, it says a banner, a remembrance, a miraculous sign. Okay, it says token, ensign, standard, miracle, or proof. Okay, proof. So the proof of Yahweh Shem Shai is the prophets, man. You know, and the Lord set it up to where the prophets will just be your everyday working class Israelite men, you know, which is at the bottom tier of nigger culture, or the culture of our people. You know, so the Lord gave, you know, this sign. All right, he's showing proof, you know, through what's despised amongst our people. Okay, the things that are considered as nothing amongst our people, man. Okay, so going back, all right, let's get a few videos. Of course, we know, all right, the whole thing with the digital ID in the UK. All right, and I looked up, you know, a little history on that ID, but the whole ID system in general, you know, which we're going to walk it down, you know, as the elder brother Ariala out of GMS Dallas goes into just the path to the M.O.T.B. We're seeing the path, okay, because all roads lead to the M.O.T.B. So let's play this, all right, and it's showing you that you know, this thing is undeniable. You know, that's why you even hear other Israelite camps, you know, beginning to try to change their stance, you know, try to squeeze the M.O.T.B. into their doctrine, you know, which they've been teaching different, okay, for all these years. But it's getting to the point where it's undeniable. Okay. So let's play this.
This government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Conspiracy theorists proven correct again. Keir Starmer is mandating a digital ID. And watch the BS reason he gives you. It's good for you. It's always good for you, just like the vaccine. It's always good for you.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID.
And here it is. You know, the devil charges you for everything. You know, your tax on your paycheck before you get it. And then when you spend money, after that money has been taxed, you're taxed again. Okay. Then they tax you to the penny. You see? Then you still have taxes that you have to pay, getting the car tax. So they tax you for every goddamn, they charge you for every goddamn thing. Okay, but this is free. Okay, letting you know that there's an agenda. You see, whenever the devil starts to give things free, going back even with the juice, okay, the juice free. You see, you go to the hospital for a cold, okay, $1,100 bill, okay, but you go get this, this high tech, potion is free, okay. And like Elder Zahab said, when something is free, that means you the product. Okay? And these devils love to make it seem as if they're doing you a huge favor, man. Okay? And then he said, let me spell it out for you, man. So that's aggressive talk, man. Okay? That's aggressive talk. He said, let me spell it out for you, man. All right, and these devils, and I speak as a man. I believe that they're behind, okay, on rolling out this M.O.T.B. Okay, so expect this devil to get tacky and aggressive, man. Okay, so let's play this some more.
Mandatory for the right to work.
Free of charge, Kurt. Free of charge.
Wow.
How royal of you! Like,
Yeah.
the old saying, if at first you don't succeed, just lock the entire country down and take away everyone's rights.
Yeah.
So they're making it mandatory.
It is now illegal for insurance companies to charge you more just because of your age, your zip code.
By the end of this parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
So they're doing that. Why would you do it like that? You won't be able
Let
to
me
work.
spell it out, Jimmy. No one can trade or buy or sell without the mark of the beast.
That's
He
right.
literally just said that in a different way.
You won't be able to access electricity.
That.
So they're doing that. Why would you do it like that? You won't be able to
Let me
work.
spell it out, Jimmy. No one can trade or buy or sell without the mark of the beast.
That's right.
He literally just said that in a different
You
way.
won't.
Can't get around it. Okay? You cannot get around it. Okay? This is what this devil is doing. And this is what the apostles and elders have been saying for decades. Okay? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah. You see? This is what these devils are wiggling to, man. Okay? So let's go here. Let's get this. And then we're gonna get this precept, and then we'll get some more a little information going to the history of the ID. So the fact that he's putting that stipulation that you can't work, because with these devils, their sister, the brother Yaquab, the Hopeful 3, he put that video up. Eve, had this dream about the M.O.T.B being implemented in 4 stages. First, people was voluntarily going to get it. All right. And then they made it inconvenient for you if you didn't have it. Just like saying you can't work. Well, it's not mandated, but if you don't have it, you can't work. So there's like a subtle way of mandating it, like a light mandation. Okay. Putting people, giving people ultimatums. Okay. Then she said it was Salaki. Moved too fast. She said first it was voluntary. Okay. People was volunteering to get the M.O.T.B. Then there was a celebrity push from the machines. So the celebrities began to push it, all right, to romanticize it more. Okay. Then it came a point to where they made it inconvenient for you. Or if you didn't have it, or you couldn't participate in the system, okay, that they was bringing out. And then the 4th phase, it was military. Okay, it was enforced, all right, under the threat of death, which all these things are biblical, man. Okay, so with this UK, and they tried in different places. This is all trial runs okay, to get the reaction. They're trying to get this system off the ground, man. Okay, but they're in scrapes. Okay, if a brother can put that, when he's about to fill his belly, he shall be in scrapes. I think there's a book of Job. All right, well, let's get this here. This is 2nd Ezra 9:1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest, all right, will begin to visit the world which he made, man. Going back to Matthew 16, man, we see these signs. Okay, we here. You see, this devil, he's trying to get this thing off the ground. He's trying to figure out what, he's pushing out his psyops. He's trying to figure out what would be the perfect false flag to initiate this thing. He's trying to, sway people. He's trying to put light pressure on what you call soft power. He's trying to come with all these different angles. He's trying to get this thing off the ground, man. And he's seeing like, damn, it's like when you embark on something that look easy. You might see someone do it on YouTube and I can do that. And then you actually try to do it real time and it's like, damn, it look easy on YouTube. And see, this is what this devil is on, man. He's trying to get this thing off the ground. Okay, he's having a problem lifting it up. Okay, and see the fact that he's attempting this, we're watching this devil attempt, okay, to roll out his new world order system, man. Okay, we're here. So these are the signs of where we at. Okay, it says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, okay, which these people have been going crazy in the earth, man. Another video by the brother Yaquab, the Hopeful Lake 3. About 9-minute videos of the uproars and the uprisings and people coming up against the governments. Certain governments have been overthrown by citizens, going into Nepal. The French have been, in uproars. Okay. Different parts of the world. So these are all signs to show this is where we at. Okay. It said, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world had the beginning and the end is manifest. Okay, the end is manifest, man. Okay, there's no doubt, all right, that the end is manifesting itself, man. We're coming into a different era. We're coming into a different phase of prophecy, man. That's why the Lord is putting us in a different spirit. Okay, coming into these times. You see? So going back, I looked it up real quick. So when you go into the modern ID system, come on now. So let's get this here. So I looked it up on the chat. All right. The water for the brother. Yeah, we get that. So I looked it up in the chat. Now, what we at? Here we go. All right, so it said when were ID systems introduced to modern society? Okay, it says ID systems mechanisms for identifying individuals have evolved over centuries, but modern ID systems, also known, all right, as we know them today, began to take shape in the 19th and 20th centuries, all right, with key developments in both government and technology. All right, early 1800s, governments began keeping systemic civil records, birth, marriages, death for identification. Passport and identity papers became more common in Europe, especially during wartime or political upheaval. Especially during wartime or political upheaval. Okay, so ID, all right, is linked to wartime and political upheaval. Okay, and one of these devils intentionally creating war and political upheaval. Okay, so when you go to the early 1900 national ID documents after World War One, many countries, and you're going to see how ID is linked to war. All right, nations being mandated to have ID, identification, linked to war in times of chaos, man. All right, after World War One, many countries introduced or formalized national identity systems. Germany, 1938, and other countries, okay, implemented mandatory ID cards for population control and surveillance. The Soviet Union developed an international passport system for controlling movement. Okay, and you best believe the elites was in the background implementing these things because you can get a lot done during war because people, they want peace. Okay, so you can introduce them ideas, all right, that sound like peace, like it's rooted in peace, but it's rooted into control. Okay, it's all rooted in control, man. All right, central control for, all right, the elite. Okay, 1930s, 1950s, ID systems in the US and Europe. Social security numbers were introduced in the US in 1936 to track earnings and benefits, man. Okay, you see that? Now, this is in 1936, and this is also during the time, of the New Deal with FDR. Okay, a little bit after. Okay, and it says UK introduced ID cards during World War II, 1939, under the National Registration Act, later abolished in 1952. Many European countries retained and expanded ID system post World War II. Okay, so World War One and World War II is when these modern ID systems, okay, became implemented within these governments, man. Okay, it says 1960s and 80s. It said the rise of computers allowed digital record keeping and databases for ID management. Countries began digitizing citizens, okay, registries, tax IDs, and social service identifiers. All right, early 1990s, 2000, the emergence of smart IDs with embedded chips. All right, example Estonia's EID introduced in 2002. Biometric systems, fingerprints, iris scans became widespread, especially in passport or border patrol, with biometric data. All right, started around 2005. All right, driven by ICAO standards. 2010 present, all right, digital and mobile IDs. Growth of digital ID systems such as India's Aadhaar, launched in 2009, world's largest biometric ID system. Mobile ID apps, examples, Apple Wallet IDs, Estonia's mobile IDs, use of facial recognition and AI in ID verification. Okay, so you see how identification has evolved with the tech. Okay, and what's going to be the ultimate tech? All right, so I said, because the next step of digital ID be an RFID microchip. It said, yes, RFID microchips could technically be a next step in digital ID system. Okay, but that idea is highly controversial, and adoption will depend on ethical, social, legal, and technological considerations, not just what's possible, man. And see, these devils, okay, are getting ready to destroy, all right, these legislations that are in the way, okay, of them implementing, all right, their M.O.T.B. And that's why you see Trump and J.D. Vance, they're destroying any regulation that the government can have over AI, okay, because they're removing all barriers that will be a hindrance, okay, to the devil, all right, establishing his new world order, okay. Now, let's go from there. I'm going to get these precepts the brother got. Let me put this video up real quick. All right. Now, this dealer, I'm say going into war. But let's go here. As the brother put up, just the brother. All right. Faithful 144K, hopeful elect. Joel 20:19 said, because he have oppressed and have forsaken the poor, because he have violently taken away a house which he builded not. Okay. And the devil, has colonized the earth, and what has he done? He's herded people under these ID systems. Okay, that's him branding his property with these ID systems. Okay, Job 20:20 says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly, he shall not save of that which he desire, man. And he desires to have this new world order up and running in the earth, man. He wants to see this thing carried out. The devils, they want to see this thing carried out, man. All right, these elites, they've been chipping at this for centuries, man, and now they're here. Okay, and then they're having the time trying to lift it off the ground. Okay, it said, there shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. Okay, because he's going to be spoiled. Okay, Esau's going to be spoiled. He's going to be stripped of everything, his authority in the earth. All right, to all the wealth that he's hoarded to himself, man. All right, Job 20:22 says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Okay, so this man, all right, is going to find himself in straits, in difficult positions, man. Okay, it's not easy trying to pull this off. See, it's not easy trying to play the Most High, because that's what this devil was attempting to do. To be liking the Most High with this whole digital ID, which is ultimately going to the RFID. I'll say he wants to control your neurons. He wants to control your DNA. Okay, he wants to control your nervous system. He wants to control, carbon. It's not as easy to play the Most High, as he thought it was, man. Okay. So we're seeing this man be in scrapes, and every hand of the wicked, which the Hebrew word is amal, goes into a worker or a laborer. Okay, which you have the different social classes rising up against this nigga. Okay, most of the prophets come from what? The working class. Okay, the spiritual rising up against this devil. Okay, and this devil, he's in scrapes, man. Okay, you see? And just as he gets closer and closer, he's only getting closer to his demise. Job 20:23 says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast out the fury of his wrath, all right, upon him, and he shall rain it upon him while he is eating, man. So in the midst of him trying to pull this thing off, man, okay, the Lord's going to rain down, okay, destruction on this man, all right, in the form of this Third World War. Okay, so let's and Yahweh Shai, or the ultimate is Yahweh Shai and the chariots, man. Okay, because that's the ultimate judgment for this devil. All right, it's through Yahweh Shai that this devil is going back into captivity. Okay, so let's play this here. This is the latest, some of the latest news was going on with those small hats. Okay, so let's play this.
At least 20 people have been wounded in the Eilat drone strike. The IDF is now probing why air defenses have failed. A few of these folks that were hit are in critical condition. And this comes just days of the hotel strike that Yemen conducted on Eilat. And this hotel strike, many people believe that it was just some random event, but now Iranian media is reporting that it was actually meant to target a high-ranking Israeli official. Where does it fit into the overall context as we have the Samud flotilla under fire by Israel in direct violation of what everything that Ansarallah and Yemen are demanding, which is that aid continue, the siege end on Gaza, as well as the genocide.
The important thing to keep in mind is that the Yemeni armed forces, the Yemeni government, and Ansarallah, from the very beginning, they initiated this siege and these strikes on the Israeli regime in order to bring an end to the genocide in Gaza. So it's really up to the Israeli regime to put an end to all of this. Instead of slaughtering women and children day and night, when Palestinians in Gaza sleep, they're suddenly bombed and slaughtered. Their neighbors are slaughtered. Their kids are terrorized, traumatized for life. Ansarullah is trying to stop this. Ansarullah says, if you put an end to this child killing, we will stop. Not only will we stop striking Palestine, but we will stop blocking the Red Sea. It's up to the Israeli regime. And not only is the Israeli regime refusing to stop the starvation siege and limiting as much as possible the amount of aid that gets into Gaza, not only are they bombing day and night, but now the flotilla is being attacked. And you would imagine if there were a group of ships, boats in the Persian Gulf region, and the Iranians dropped a smoke bomb on a single one of them. It would be the top news across the world. But these people know that they are being threatened. The Israelis are bombing boat after boat. And we recall how in the first flotilla, 10 people were murdered by the Israeli regime. And last a few weeks ago, when another ship approached Palestinian waters, how they were arrested and one African American was badly tortured and beaten, obviously because of the color of his skin. He was treated different than the other heroes on the ship. So Yemen is playing a heroic role, and history will remember the role that Yemen played. And people across the world should look to Yemen as the moral compass. It is the moral compass of all of us.
Back to
Yeah, so real quick, so what you have is a back and forth, between Yemen and those small hats, and Yemen, has been able to so Yemen has been able to breach, the Iron Dome on several occasions, and strike, into the territory of the IDF. And the latest attack, wounded 20, killed 12. Okay. So you're seeing, constant, conflicts. These small hats are always in some type of conflict with somebody. Now, he mentioned about a flotilla. Okay. So the IDF is just constantly, the scripts say they're continually gathered together for war. Okay, that's all these devils know. So what you have, what you call a 2025 Gaza Freedom for the Flotilla. Now look at flotillas. So look at what these devils are doing, these small hats, man. Okay, this is what they on. It says the June 2025 Gaza Freedom Flotilla was an aid vessel organized by the Freedom Flotilla Coalition with the intention of breaking the Israeli blockade of the Gaza Strip and delivering aid in response to famine and humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Okay, so what you have these devils doing, the small has not only are they bombing men, women, and children, okay, to hell and back, what's with the hell with the Palestinians, all right, but for these devils to try to play as if there's some type of moral authority in the earth and that there's some type of victim, all right, it's played out. Okay, these men, all right, there's no bigger terrorist group, all right, than America and the IDF. All right, there's no biggest terrorist, all right, group than the Edomite male, okay, in the earth. All right, the absolutely worst group of people on the earth is the Edomite male. Okay, and at the forefront of that is the American and Israeli government. Okay, so not only are they bombing, those people to hell and back, they're starving them out, not allowing. They have a blockade on any humanitarian aid coming in. Okay, and it says the vessels Madeline deported from Catena, Sicily on June 1st, 2025 and contained baby formula. All right. Let's see, 220 pounds of flour, 550 pounds of rice, diapers, medical kits, crutches. In the early hours of June 9th, Israeli forces attacked with a chemical spray boarded and seized the Madeline in international waters, preventing it from reaching the Gaza Strip, and transported the 12 people on board to detention in Israel. Okay, and there's been other flotillas, all right, that are attempting to go out there, and they're getting the same treatment. So they're being attacked with chemical spray. Okay, boarded and seized in Madeline in international waters. Okay, this is what these devils are on, man. Just a terror. They dead set on being a terror. All right, to those Palestinians. Ultimately, what they're doing in Palestine, okay, and they're using a lot of their AI technology. Okay, what they're doing in Palestine, all right, these devils want to do everywhere, man. Okay, they want to depopulate. All right, they want to, cause chaos. Okay, all in an attempt to rebuild. Okay, and establish a whole new world government, man. Okay, so a lot of this technology that's going to be used to put pressure on the rest of the world, all right, to fold to the M.O.T.B, where they're using their technology, all right, Palantir over there in Gaza. Okay, Gaza is a training ground. AI is learning a lot dealing with what's going on in Gaza, man. It's bigger than, they keep pushing this narrative. All right, let's go here. All right, because they keep pushing this whack ass narrative about some hostages, man. Okay, let's go here. They keep pushing this whack ass narrative about no hostages. It ain't about no hostages, man. Okay, it's about these devils being the devil. Okay, and these devils are using this, okay, as a training ground for what they want to do globally, man. Okay.
President Trump says he thinks the U.S. is very close to reaching a deal on Gaza that would bring the hostages back and in the war. But hours after Trump expressed optimism for peace, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the United Nations General Assembly yesterday. He said Israel must finish the job against Hamas. Dozens of delegates walked out in protest before he took the stage, and outside, thousands of protesters marched from Times Square to the UN building, many calling Netanyahu a war criminal. Deborah Pata has more.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was defiant and unapologetic at the United Nations.
The leaders who recognize the Palestinian state this week sent to the Palestinians, it's a very clear message. Murdering Jews pays off.
It was vintage Netanyahu, complete with charts and a pop quiz as he listed Israel's military victories over the past year. Victories he has battled to turn into diplomatic ones. The Israeli leader faces growing isolation, allegations of genocide, and a deeply divided country back home. His speech was delivered to a half-empty hall after a walkout by some delegates. Outside, he was encircled by
Satan Yahoo. All right, and it fits the devil. It fits all these devils. All right, Satan Yahoo, man. Right on cue. Okay, this man is Satan, man. Okay, this man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Okay, and he would do what the devil would do. He would do what Satan would do. Okay, if Satan was a nation in the earth, it's Esau. Okay, so let's play this some more. Now I got another quick video.
War protesters, but Netanyahu's most important audience is only one man.
It's looking like we have a deal on Gaza, and we'll let you know.
The two leaders will meet on Monday.
We had to beg others to defend us.
Netanyahu's speech was broadcast through loudhailers to Gaza in the hope that hostages would hear it, but it would have been drowned out by the weapons of war. Israel said it struck over 140 targets. For Palestinians living there, that meant homes pulverized, and for first responders, another day racing to save children buried beneath.
Look at this, man. And this is every day. You know, every day, man. This is the tyrant that's in power, man. All right, if a brother can post it, Isaiah 14:6. You know, and if you can post it in the NLT as well, Isaiah 14:6, Bible shot, man. You know, you look, say a picture, say 1,000 words. Okay, whole building on your ass. All right, but he flies over to the UN and he's the victim. You see?
That rubble. For CBS Saturday.
Look at this, man. Man, this nigga is crazy, man. Esau's goddamn crazy, man. Okay, and them niggas in Chicago a problem, but they not capable of this, man. Okay, look at what this nigga got going on. This is every day, man. Okay.
Morning, Deborah Patter, Johannesburg.
We have got to the. So let's go here as well. Yep, brother got that. Pull up another video. It's the last one. But yeah, let's play this. All right, this is the brother Yahweh. All right, Isaiah chapter 14:6 in the NLT. It says, "You struck the people with endless blows, okay, of rage, and held the nations in anger, all right, in your angry grip with unrelenting tyranny, man." You know, which we know this speaking of Babylon, but the small hats is nothing but an extension of Babylon in the Middle East. Okay, is Babylonian, all right, or American weaponry, all right, American intelligence assisting them. Okay, the resources. Okay, so this devil, you know, these Edomites, you know, they just continually to pummel people with tyranny, man. Okay, just unrelenting tyranny, man, with an angry grip, man. Okay, and this is whom Yahweh Shai is coming to put down in the earth, man. Okay, and this is the good news that this devil is defeated. Now let's play this because it's going to show you, you know, more images of their walkout, man. How people, all right, looking at these small hats with disgust, man. The earth is looking at you, Edomites, with disgust, man. Okay, so let's go here real quick. Blow this up. And everything looking at you small hats as a victim. See, that victim card is played out. Okay, only thing left for Esau to do is just wage war on everybody. You know, which that's something that the devil would do. Let's play this.
So the world walked out on Benjamin Netanyahu today at the UN. So
you saw South Park?
What's that?
You saw that South Park and they?
No, I didn't.
Oh, because Israel's mad about it because they just had a scene of Sheila Blavatsky yelling at Netanyahu.
So over 100 diplomats from more than 50 countries staged a mass walkout as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu entered the United Nations General Assembly Hall, crowding into aisles to file out through the room's various exits. You want to watch?
Yes.
Let's watch some of that.
Please, order in the hall. Please, order in the hall.
It looks empty. Wow.
Who else left?
Who's left?
They just showed the Kyrgyzstan sign. Who else left?
Please, order in the hall, and please be seated.
Why would you stay?
I'm going to guess you're on some kind of list.
I'd like to hear him out. That's
So
all.
yeah, let's hear him out.
Please.
Who's that in the background? Please.
So
Do not getting up now, please.
Please. So here's another view of it. Look how empty it is. This is from the national news. Look at how empty it is. So are they applauding those people for walking out? Is that what's happening? It doesn't sound like that many people applauding. Look at how empty this place is. The whole place is empty.
Yeah, man, you see that. Okay. Everybody walking out on this nigga, man. There's only a few people who stayed. Everybody walked out on this nigga, man. Okay. And what you call Edomite fatigue. Okay. You see that? And see, the Lord said he will make this man despised amongst men. Okay. This devil and his wickedness, you know, is at a boiling point. Okay. So there are the people, you know, that's in the stands, they're applauding, you know, this walkout when this devil, don't nobody want to hear that shit, man. He can come them saying, you know, the hostages, you know, we're being attacked on all sides. You know, we're begging for anyone to help us, please. You know, and nobody want to hear that shit no more, man. Okay, everybody is tired of the Edomite man talking. Okay, and they know it's his lies, man, and treachery. You see, so let's go here real quick. Let's get this in the book of Isaiah, chapter 32. Okay. In verse 5, it says, this in the NLT says, in that day, ungodly fools would not be heroes, scoundrels would not be respected. Okay. So this devil is losing his respect while he's in power, man. And the Lord is causing this devil respect to dwindle in the earth. Okay. Shameful spewing is on his glory. Okay. Because the Lord's going to remove him from power. Okay, so we're seeing a decline, all right, in Edomite reverence in the earth, man. Okay, and he can't play the victim and hero, all right. He played that card out. Okay, there's no way that you can be a victim of the whole Air Force and you're dropping, you know, 4-ton bombs, okay, 10-ton bombs on women and children, but you the victim. Nah, man, it's played out. Okay, the earth is tired of this nigga talking the same lie. Okay, no one's believing this man. All right, and the Lord is causing these nations, you know, to rise up, man. Okay, Isaiah 32 and 6 said, for fools speak foolishness and make evil plans, and this is all these devils are doing. And now, you know, the Lord had this man out here looking foolish trying to pull this off, man. You know, because certain things like, damn, this nigga's a wicked genius. But then it's like, now he's looking like a goddamn fool trying to pull this off, man. Okay, he's looking more tacky by the second, man. It said they practice ungodliness and spread false teachings about the Lord. Yeah, and these small heads love to go to the Bible to try to justify their wickedness and what they're doing, man. Okay, first off, you are not the people. So that's the first lie because you're saying that the Lord chose you. That's a lie. Okay, and now you're saying the Lord is with what you're doing. Okay, in the earth, based on accounts in the Bible. Okay, well, King David, you know, particular leaders of Israel were told, all right, to attack the heathen and destroy the heathen. Okay, those are false teachers, man. Because first off, you're not them. You're not the descendants. Okay, of King David and the tribes, man. Okay, you're Edomite, rejected in the earth, man. You sold your birthright. Okay, It said they deprive the hungry of food and give no water to the thirsty, man. We're seeing them do that literally. Okay? We're seeing them doing that literally, man. Over there in Gaza, but they do that, globally. And ultimately, they've been trying to starve people of the truth. But see, the Lord has broke, the blockade that they had on truth. Okay? And there's nothing they can do to stop it, man, until the Lord wants it stopped, because he's about to get ready to judge, man. Okay? Verse 7, it said, the smooth tricks of the scoundrels are evil. They plot crooked schemes. They lie to convict the poor. And even when the cause of the poor is just, man. So these devils finna scheme and come up, all right, with some type of angle, which they already demonized, okay, the northern tribes and the southern kingdom. So they already had the world, rooting against them, to be rooted out. And eventually he's going to make his way to the prophets, man. Okay? So he's scheming and plotting, okay, to remove, the ministry, man. Okay? And we have a just cause, okay? And it's backed by Yahweh Bashim al-Shah. So, hey, this devil, he's walking down the hell of a path, and we know how it ends for him, man. Okay? So there was a point, Amalek fatigue. Yeah, so that was the point, so Lord will, you brothers, all right, and, you sisters edified once again. And give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great example towards younger brothers, and peace and blessing salutations to the hopeful Shalom.